Now on Coast TV News.
Cell phone use,
measure to keep the kids focused.
the proposal by Delaware lawmakers to keep kids off screens. Cold on the coast,
Hopefully they can, get some layers of shelter.
where you can go to stay warm. Emergency closure, restriction, shellfish harvesting in the Indian River Bay after a sewage spill.
We have icy air that's making its way towards us, and we're going to stay in the teens just to start off the morning.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Students using cell phones in the classroom. Good evening, I'm Emma Aiken, in for Christina DiRobertis tonight. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. We begin tonight with a proposal by Delaware lawmakers to keep students off their phones. It's one of the most recent topics at Legislative Hall. The Delaware House recently approved a bipartisan bill that would limit student cell phone use during school hours. Coast TV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us what local parents and one local school district are saying.
Senate Bill 106 will require each school district and charter schools to create a policy with input from educators. Michael Fitzgerald supports the idea based on a past experience in another state.
The teacher said that it made a huge difference for them. The students were still safe, still had the ability to contact the parents, but then at the same time, they had less distractions, so they were actually picking up things that they normally weren't.
While school districts in our area already have policies in place, the new policy needs to specify when and where students can use their cell phones at school.
Cell phones have a lot of connectivity and a lot of other parts or applications that are associated with teaching and learning. And so we don't want to completely ban cell phones, but we most certainly want to help our students understand responsible use of cell phones and really still encourage the use of it as a learning tool when it's appropriate.
Potential changes on the horizon for Delaware students.
Senate Bill 106 now heads back to the Senate for consideration of House Amendment 2. In Milton, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
Lawmakers say there will be exceptions for emergency situations and medical or educational accommodations. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll tonight. We want to know, when should students use phones at school? Let's take a look at the updated results. So far, 37% of you say never allowed, 31% say lunch only, 28% say after school, and 4% say between classes. Kind of split there. And if you want to vote, you still can on coasttvnews.com or on the mobile app. Dangerously cold temperatures this weekend are posing a legitimate health risk for people who have to be outside for long periods of time. From construction to delivery drivers to farmers and more, not everyone can cuddle up at home or sit in a warm office. Coast TV spoke with one community member who are putting in their hours even as the temperatures drops.
You might have some layers on, but if they're not the right kind of layers, the wind's just going to blow through it. So, it doesn't provide as much as you might hope.
For anyone who doesn't have a place to go, various warming centers in Sussex County will be open January 16th, 20th, and the 21st from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to help keep people safe. However, these centers won't be open over the weekend or on Monday due to Martin Luther King Day. Code Purple at the Cape and the Community Resource Center in Rehoboth Beach will both be open, operating at normal schedule. And we're now taking a look outside into Ocean City. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a look at that weather. Good evening, Paul.
Well, first and foremost, we're starting to feel the cold air slowly filter its way towards us, and we're starting to feel the effects of that. And for tomorrow morning, you have to bundle up because we're going to drop down to 9 degrees as far as the wind chill is concerned. 9, as in lower than 10. All right, so it's 26 degrees right now in Ocean City, and we're going to drop down to 24 under mostly clear skies by at least the early morning hours. Now, we're staying on the cool side. Take a look at where we are right now. We're at 24 degrees in Rehoboth Beach, but we're at 23 right now in Georgetown, 22 in Harrington, 23 in Bridgeville, and 24 in Laurel, 23 right now in Delmar. Where do we compare to just yesterday at the same time? We are 24 degrees lower now than we were this time yesterday. We talked about this Arctic air making its invasion of our neck of the woods. Well, now it's here, and now we've got to be concerned with the possibility of whether the rain we're expecting will turn over to snow. Emma?
Emergency restrictions on clam and mussel harvesting in the Indian River Bay are now in place. DENREC issued the temporary closure in response to an ongoing sewage release tied to Millsboro's sewer system. Crab, conch, and finfish harvests remain open in the bay, with the Rehoboth Bay not affected. The closure for clams and mussels is expected to last at least 3 weeks after the discharge ends in Sussex County. We do have more on this on our website on coasttvnews.com. Delaware Senate President pro tempore Dave Sokola announced he will not seek re-election this year, ending a legislative career that began in 1990. Sokola is currently the longest-serving member of the Delaware General Assembly. He cited education reform, civil rights, and gun safety among his accomplishments. Sokola said his remaining priorities include updating Delaware's school funding formula and addressing healthcare and energy costs before the legislative session ends on June 30th. Delaware Democratic leaders praised his decades of steady leadership and lasting impact on the state. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer saying in part, quote, "Senator Dave Sokola is a leader whose steady presence and thoughtful approach have helped shape public service in our state for a generation. He leads with heart as much as with principle," end quote. Switching gears now, the Dagsboro, Ellendale, and Selbyville police departments earned state accreditation from the Delaware Police Accreditation Commission after completing a review process that included on-site inspections, policy and procedure reviews, plus interviews with department members. House Bill 206 requires all Delaware police agencies to be accredited by 2028. Right now, 64% of the state's police agencies are accredited, including 12 nationally accredited agencies and 20 accredited through the state program. If you live in Lewis and noticed low water pressure or discolored water today, it's because the Lewis BPW conducted hydrant flow testing today. It was supposed to take place yesterday, but they rescheduled it to today because of an emergency water line break. If you did notice that discolored water, officials say run your cold water for 10 to 15 minutes until it clears up and avoid doing laundry during the tests. A group called Eyes on County Council held an informational meeting today for new members. This organization sends volunteers to county council meetings to condense the info into a weekly digest for Sussex residents to use to catch up with what is discussed if they can't attend. With big decisions made recently over developments such as Atlantic Fields, EOCC says this helps people engage with county politics.
You see an empty council chamber, it's kind of stark, right? There they are sitting up there doing their job and nobody is paying any attention. So, civic engagement is an important thing.
People interested in attending county council to write notes for the digest can visit the Sussex Preservation Coalition website. Ocean City is months away from the busy season, but that's not stopping the police department from finding ways to mitigate electric scooter collisions before it's too late. According to police, they noticed an increase in collisions involving electric scooters in 2025, something they plan to fix before the summer begins. According to the Ocean City Police Department, they are already working closely with the Ocean City Council on this issue. Police plan to educate J1 students who use scooters on roadway rules and new sidewalk regulations, as well as the implementation of green painted lanes designed to better define and protect travel spaces. One avid bicyclist believes these changes are needed to keep the town safe, especially after seeing a crash firsthand.
One day, me and my wife were on Coastal Highway, and we're just cruising down the road, and it was raining, and I was trying to look out, and I just see the scooter go flying, and the person come flying off the scooter, and it was just wiped right out. And I'm like, oh my God.
According to the Ocean City Police Department, a full crime report comparing 2025 and 2024 is scheduled to be presented to the Ocean City Council on March 2nd. And we are just getting started here on Coast TV News at 11. Coming up, winter weather worries, how the dropping temperatures can affect your body and what you can do to protect it. Chips for Charity, how students at Sussex Academy came together to support a local family during a time of grief. And coming up next, Paul Williams is in the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center. He has your full forecast after this.
The Sussex Academy community came together to support the family of an alum who passed away due to cancer in September 2025. As reporter Elisa Weber shows us, for students, for parents, helping to cover the funeral costs was their way of giving back.
Sussex Academy students coming together to support the family of one of their own. Members of two of the school's clubs held a Chips for Charity fundraiser to help cover funeral expenses for the family of 2024 graduate Tanya Garcia Roblero, who tragically passed away in late 2025 from cancer. For Tanya's cousin, it was touching to see students coming together to honor Tanya and support her family.
I'm really happy this is happening so we can still live up her name and keep her name alive, because she loved this school.
During lunchtime, students sold various types of chips and dips. Through their efforts, they were able to raise $2,000 for Tanya's family. For Amy Goodhue, a parent of Sussex Academy students, jumping in to help Tanya's family felt like the right thing to do.
It's every parent's nightmare to go through something like that, and I just wanted to, when something like that happens, I feel like every family needs to just jump in and see how we can help them bond together.
And for Tanya's friends who have so many memories with her here at school, they knew she was looking down with so much joy.
She was the most beautiful soul. She was my best friend, and seeing this happen, it makes me emotional because I wish she was here to see this.
Even in loss, unity and compassion can create something truly unforgettable. For Coastal Connections, I'm Elisa Weber.
First and foremost, it's the cold, it's the cold, it's the cold. That's the main point and purpose and significance of the forecast immediately. And the chances of snow, the uncertainty is rising. In other words, it's looking more iffy as we go along, is what I'm saying in simplest terms. So, Rehoboth Beach, 24 degrees. That's cold, but nothing compared to what tomorrow morning is going to feel like. We will stay pretty much where we are, so we're going to stay on course right now with the temperatures for the rest of the night, but it's going to start feeling cooler because the wind's going to start kicking in for us. And we'll see a few scattered clouds, and then it'll clear out for us as we go into Friday morning. So here's where we are right now. We're at 22 degrees, for example, in Harrington, 23 in Bridgeville, Milford, Georgetown, Milton, Long Neck, Gumboro, and Delmar. So we got plenty of cold to go around. So much cold that we're 24, 23, and 22 degrees cooler now than we were at this exact same time yesterday. It feels like 9 degrees right now in Indian River Inlet. The wind chill is 13 in Lewis. It feels like 13 in Georgetown, 12 in Laurel. It feels like 16 right now in Delmar. So when you think about it, the winds have really become more than just a nuisance. They're a problem at this point. Gale wind warning, gale force winds actually active along the coastal region for the entire Delmarva Peninsula, no matter where you are. So we're watching out for 45-mile-per-hour winds close to the beaches. The inland areas are also getting carved up by these winds as well. A 37-mile-per-hour wind gust was recorded earlier in Salisbury, and the winds will continue to come out of the west-northwest for Friday morning, which is at 23 miles per hour with the temperatures in the 20s or lower. That's why it's going to feel like 9 degrees or possibly lower than that in a lot of locations. Now, winds will be shifting out of the southwest for Saturday, which is why I think what precipitation we'll have is going to be more in the form of rain instead of snow. We have freeze potential across the board. For example, Friday all the way down to a hard freeze. And we're looking for hard freeze potential for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of all of next week. What is it going to feel like? How about 9 degrees? Pretty much a lot of the interior areas from Millsboro, Georgetown, Milton, Ellendale. It's going to feel like 10 to 11 degrees in all other locations. Now, Friday evening, the winds will be pushing out of the south, but it's still going to feel like 21 degrees if we're lucky. Look for sunshine, but winds out of the west up to 30 miles per hour for the beach properties. So here's a look at what we're expecting precipitation-wise. Saturday, we see the cloud cover thickening up, but then it's in the form of just rain in the afternoon. Temperatures will be in the 40s, well above freezing. I'm even breaking it down, even on a more smaller scale. Seaford, Highway 13, lunchtime, we're looking at rain, and then everything clears out quickly. And Sunday, I'm really hard for me to find any moisture Sunday. Now, as far as the beaches are concerned, we're looking for rain to break out at about 1:30, Dewey Beach and Rehoboth. And that's hard. So best chance of seeing an inch of snow maybe at 11:30 briefly, and then it hightails it out of here. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll keep you updated on the potential of any kind of snow on Sunday, but it's looking more and more iffy as we go along.
Delaware State Police are warning people in Sussex County about a rise in car thefts. State Police say several cars, mostly Kia and Hyundai models, were stolen or targeted from residential driveways over the past week. Police say some cars were unlocked, but others were locked and taken without the keys. Delaware State Police are reminding drivers to never leave cars unlocked and to report suspicious activity. The Newcastle DMV remains closed in Delaware after Corporal Matthew Ty Snook was shot and killed there in December. NBC 10's Tim Furlong has the latest as the community does what it can to give back to the family of Trooper Snook.
Flowers for Corporal Snook still outside the main doors of the Newcastle DMV location. Some drivers still showing up for inspections and other services, only to find the doors still locked and signs directing them to their Delaware City location. DelDOT tells me that the facility won't reopen in January, and while they wouldn't give me specifics, they do tell me when it does reopen, customers are going to find some security enhancements.
That's my main concern, is that my employees were okay. The first thing I asked them when they called was, "Are you okay?" And get out.
Ed owns the hot dog truck outside of the DMV and said the call from his employees during the shooting December 23rd was as scary as you'd imagine it would be, but he, like so many others, now looking forward to the DMV reopening sooner rather than later. The owner of the food truck says obviously his pain doesn't compare in any way to that of the Snook family, but he says he's hurting financially. This is his only truck. Moving it is not an option, and he says he also really worries about his employees who need their paycheck.
Anybody who loses a paycheck for a month, not many people can survive that. It's employees and vendors, and it's a trickle-down effect.
When he does reopen, Ed plans to do a fundraiser for the Snook family. And speaking of fundraisers,
it was such a loss. We all felt it.
You still have time to get to Luigi's Cafe Pizza and Pasta in Hocassin, Delaware, where they're giving half their proceeds tonight to the Snook family. The corporal was a regular here, and when he learned of his death, the owner knew right away he would step up to help his family.
Yeah, he would come in every other Saturday or so and pick up some food for the family. Such a nice guy, just a genuine good guy, and just especially that he has a baby girl. That really got me because I just got a couple kids myself.
We will keep you updated on the DMV situation, and we will let you know when we learn of a reopening date. Tim Furlong, WRDE Coast TV News.
The Rehoboth Beach Barrel Club is hosting an event to honor Trooper Snook. According to their Facebook page, the Lift in Honor takes place this Saturday, January 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., bringing people together through powerlifting and fitness challenges. The club says all participants donate directly to the official fundraiser supporting Corporal Snook's young family. And on Sunday, the Blue Line Network is also having an event to honor Corporal Snook. The video you see now is from the event they did in Newark earlier this month. The event will take place at Hudson Fields in Milton. Cars will be directed through a designated area where volunteers will place a memorial sticker on the rear window of each car. There is no charge for the sticker, but donations are requested, and organizers say 100% of the donations will go directly to the Snook family. Later in sports, the Umee's women's basketball team is looking to do something it hasn't done in decades. Find out if they got the job done later in the show. Diplomatic debate, a meeting at the White House to discuss who should control Greenland.
And taking a look at our Bay forecast, we're looking for chilly conditions with a chance of a little bit of a mix of rain and a little snow near Cambridge for Sunday. We'll continue to monitor that possibility.
Not for sale. That's the message from Danish and Greenland officials to President Trump about the Arctic territory. They met with administration officials at the White House and said they have a different opinion from the president about who should control Greenland, but are open to expanding the U.S. military footprint. NBC's Alice Barr has details from Washington.
This morning, diplomatic divisions over the fate of Greenland, the Danish territory that President Trump insists the U.S. must control.
We need Greenland for national security.
The president has made his view clear, and we have a different position.
Foreign ministers from Denmark and Greenland meeting at the White House with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who says President Trump would prefer to buy the massive island territory, a proposition that could cost as much as $700 billion, according to 3 people familiar with the estimate. Denmark, a NATO ally, insists its territory is not for sale. President Trump has not ruled out military force, citing what he views as a threat from other major powers.
The problem is there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland, but there's everything we can do.
It is not a true narrative that we have, Chinese warships all around the place.
On Capitol Hill, lawmakers in both parties speaking out against military action in Greenland, calling it
the most serious national geopolitical mistake this country could make,
while endorsing the power of alliances and the U.S. military presence already in place in Greenland to secure the Arctic.
The not smart, unachievable way is whoever told the president that this was a viable path. It doesn't make sense.
Among Greenland's population of roughly 57,000, mounting anxiety as leaders promise to keep talking. In Washington,
Taiwan has struck a new trade deal with the U.S. to cut tariffs. The agreement lowers the tariff rate on Taiwanese exports to a minimum of 15%, which is down from 20%. In exchange, Taiwanese companies will invest $250 billion to build and expand chip energy and AI operations in America. Those companies will also provide a credit line to help U.S. firms expand their own supply chains. The dropping temperatures can have a major impact on anyone's body, but for the millions of migraine sufferers in the U.S., the cold can also trigger an attack. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains why winter weather can bring on a migraine and how to help prevent an attack when it's cold outside.
Extreme cold, changes in barometric pressure, and sudden weather shifts can create a perfect storm for those who suffer from migraines.
For a lot of people, that is a major trigger.
Dr. Ahmad Estamalik with Cleveland Clinic says winter weather can trigger blood vessels in the brain to dilate, causing inflammation and lead to sinus pressure. Both can increase the number of migraines. Avoiding those attacks starts with being aware of what typically sparks them, like certain foods, caffeine, stress, and sleep issues.
Those who have migraines know what they can do generally to minimize triggers.
Estamalik says to also avoid the extreme weather as much as possible. Stay inside when you can. Make sure you're hydrated. And he says not to load up on over-the-counter painkillers.
Too much over-the-counter painkillers for migraine patients can have a rebound effect. So suddenly they get into what we call rebound headaches. So typically we recommend no more than 2 to 3 times a week, and then really trying to minimize the other factors.
And while you can't change the weather, you can be prepared, Estamalik says, to have rescue and abortive medications on hand in case they're needed when air pressure changes. Finally, if you can't find symptom relief, see a doctor.
There are a lot of ways to deal with, that sudden change in headache frequency. And that's where I think patients should reach out to their healthcare provider for that.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Estamalik says it's also important for migraine sufferers to reduce stress and manage mental health issues like anxiety or depression, which can trigger or worsen an attack.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good evening, folks. I hope you've enjoyed your Thursday. For UMES, the hot start continues on both the men's and the women's side. The men look forward to staying undefeated on the weekend, but the women, they needed some late game heroics on Thursday night. For the first time since the 1998-1999 season, the women's basketball team is an undefeated 4-0 in conference play. And they earned their 4th conference victory of the season against Coppin State. And they needed some extra time to get the job done. Down by 3 with less than 30 seconds left, Desi Taylor knocked down a game-tying 3 to tie the score at 61. UMES would eventually have a chance for a game winner that came up short, but in overtime, it was all Hawks. A shutout, winning the extra frame 7-0 to earn a 68-61 victory. Ashanti Lynch poured in a game-high 28 points and pulled down 15 rebounds as her monster season continues. Next up for the Hawks, North Carolina Central next Thursday on the road. The Eagles are still searching for their first conference win this year. On the other side, the UMES men also have raced out to a hot start this year in conference play, sitting atop the MEAC with a perfect 3-0 record. They're in action this Saturday afternoon against Coppin State. The men had gone nearly 2 months without winning a basketball game until conference play started. Now Cleo Hill Jr. has his guys playing some of their best basketball, but of course, they're still looking for more. The Hawks have won 2 of their 3 conference games by double digits, and they've been doing it by committee offensively, with only 1 player averaging double figures in points per game. You can catch that next contest against Coppin State live here on DSN. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night.
There's no other way to say it. Just simply put, prepare for the cold. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up just uncomfortably cold. Uncomfortably cold. I couldn't put it any plainer than that. We're at 23 degrees, Milford right now, and we're going to stay in the low 20s with scattered cloud cover in place in Milford. By the way, our umbrella winner, Jenny. Congratulations from Lewis. You're our umbrella winner, courtesy of Paul Davis, property restoration experts. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. We'll keep you updated on the potential of snow, by the way, on this line. And here's a look at your 10-day forecast.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next. We will see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.